Okay. So we're going to make some very strong assumptions, and I should say something about that. In fact, I should say something about how this all works. So a traditional treatment of all this material is you work out various proofs of convergence of things like this. That's fine, just to get a rough idea. It turns out these things are not that useful in practice. And in fact, the typical convergence theorem will look like this. It'll say if, it'll have a long list of things. By the way, not one of which is actually, generally speaking, verifiable. Right? Not only that, it'll involve all sorts of constants that you don't know. We'll get to some of those constants very soon, like Lipschitz constants and things like that. Then it'll say then, and it'll have a statement that says, x converges to the optimal blah, 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 within, and then there'll be some number. Usually they don't even tell you what the number of, there's no bound on the number of steps. If there is a bound on the number of steps, it involves all sorts of constants you don't know. Okay? So from one point of view, one could argue that such a theorem is useless in practice. And I believe that's actually a correct statement. Actually, I believe that's the case. So when you then confront people who spend, let's say, 4 weeks of a class, 10, let's say, focusing only on that material, they'll say something like this. They'll say, no, we do that because it's conceptually useful. And that actually I agree with. So that it's useful to know. It's great to know something converges. Even if, when someone says, how long does it take to converge, the answer involves all sorts of numbers you don't know. So it's kind of like, at least it's, I don't know, it's a nice thing to know that if you ran it for forever, that it would eventually converge. That's a useful thing. Okay. Now, in view of this being what I believe, actually a bunch of other people also believe, is the right is the role of all of these convergence theorems, it means really, since you're not going to really be using it, you might as well use a big hammer and just make the biggest assumptions you can, because these are just conceptual, in fact.